Hi, everybody. This is Andrea for the Learning Bear Podcast, your resource for wild professional development. Today, we're doing a continuation of the SummerSeries that I've started. We're going to be focusing on scavenger hunts. Scavenger hunts can really be manipulated about 100 different ways, probably more than that. Really, the only limitation is your creativity. The only rule at a scavenger hunt is to be safe. Don't plan anything that is going to require kids to do some climbing. Definitely, before you start a scavenger hunt, lay down the rules. If you have more than one kid or your kids are competitive, definitely tell them no pushing, no shoving, no stealing of clues, the whole 9 yards. Tell them ahead of time. And speaking from experience, if you don't tell them to do those things, they will definitely do those things. And if you tell them and they still do it, then you have means in which to take away points or, some sort of disciplinary action, which would definitely need to occur if somebody gets hurt. So bear that in mind, be safe. But otherwise, there's no limitations for scavenger hunts whatsoever. Scavenger hunt that I want to share with you today is about wetlands. Of course, I would put an educational spin on it. When I've taught in schools or summer camps, I've always used scavenger hunts as a reward at the end of the week. We've been talking about a concept all week. It could be biology, chemistry, whatever. And at the end of the week, my scavenger hunts are a review tool for them to kind of make sure they learn. I don't always do it with like a list and these are the things you have to find. A lot of times I do it as a series of clues ending in a prize somewhere. And they have to work together as a team to solve the clues and puzzles and so forth. But for this, I would probably stick to a list. Everything they find on the list is worth so many points. And if they find more than one thing on the list, then, for example, on here, if they find 3 things that absorb water and all of those are worth 5 points each, then they would get 15 points instead of 5. So specifically, these things for the wetland scavenger hunt are pertinent to a wetland. They absorb tidal forces, they're a resting place for migratory birds, they mix up nutrients in the water, they filter debris and pollution, and they're also a food source for a lot of animals. So you could start simply with these 5 things. There's way more things that you could talk about. It's a loose adaptation of the aquatic, wild, lesson, wetland metaphors. They have about 10 different things that they talk about. 5 may be a good starting point just to get you rolling, but you could certainly do more than that. With a little bit of research, you could find out all the wonderful things that wetlands do. And you could spin this into any habitat. It could be a grassland, it could be a mountain area, it could be a rainforest, whatever you're working on that week. It could even be specific to your area. If you live in a desert in New Mexico, then maybe you talk about that. So I would start it with talking about wetlands. I probably would have talked about wetlands most of the week, but naturally you want to give your little spiel and make sure they understand why you're finding the things that you are, and then you send them on their merry way, which is great. Now here's why this is great. Your children will be doing most of the work for you. You're going to have to take maybe 10 or 15 minutes to get your list prepared for the scavenger hunt and assign point values or create clues if you're going to go that direction. Once you've done it once or twice, it's very easy to do. So the first time you might struggle a little bit, but once you get the hang of it, it just flows. You don't even think about it anymore. You have a format and you can follow it pretty easily. Then you give them as much time as they want or you want to search for items, and then give them time to present their findings and they can rationalize why they think this is whatever's on your list. Then you reward them for their efforts. Now, when I've done scavenger hunts, usually the scavenger hunt itself is the reward because my kids love doing scavenger hunts, but it could also be a twofold thing. They made it through the week with good behavior, so they have a scavenger hunt. And then at the end of the scavenger hunt, you give them a prize like cookies or, if they wanted a Matchbox car, whatever. I don't know. Whatever your kids are into. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But definitely reward them for their efforts if you can. in some way, even if it's just like reading them a story that they never get to read or something like that. Okay. Here's another idea that you can use for another scavenger hunt. Focus on the amazing world of, you guessed it, sea turtles. Sea turtles are amazing creatures and have so much to share with anybody that wants to talk about them. There's really no limits to what you could do, but sea turtles, similar to format as you use for the wetlands that I talked about. You could have your students, your kids, find something that looks like their flippers, like a paddle or a spoon. You could have something that has that retraction idea, like a tape measure. Sea turtles cannot retract their heads because it would inhibit their ability to swim, but you can talk about that. You can have a discussion. Land turtles do retract. You could have them find something related to diving, like goggles. Leatherbacks can dive more than 1,000 feet. They can get almost to 4,000 feet when they're looking for jellyfish. You could have them find something that's very slow moving liquid like blood. Maple syrup would be a good one. Corn syrup, oil. Sea turtles have a very slow metabolic rate. This helps them stay submerged for a long period of time. Some turtles can stay submerged for 35 to 45 minutes. Some sea turtles can stay up to 5 hours. It's insane. You could also do a stopwatch, which would time how long they're submerged. Sea turtles also have a gland in their eyes that excrete excess salt, so you could have them find something that would excrete water, like an eyedropper. You could also have something that mimics their beaks, which, some sea turtles have to crush coral, so a nutcracker or a hammer or something like that. Be safe and careful with that one if you choose to use that one, but there's a million different things you could use for that. So they like to dig. They dig their nests, so maybe a shovel. I mean, the possibilities are really endless for things you could do for that. So again, just to remind you of the rewarding for good behavior, you could have your students working all week long towards that scavenger hunt, and again, that could just be your reward, or they could be earning points all week long for completing chores or good behavior, or doing whatever activities it is that you're doing throughout the week, and racking up points to earn treats, like an ice cream night, like a movie night, like a yes day. There's so many different things you could do. Maybe these aren't relevant to your student. Pick something that's relevant. If they've been itching for a new book or a new toy, or they want new shoes or something, I don't know, whatever your kids are into, this would be an opportunity for you to reward them because they've either completed their chores or they've done some sort of educational task that you've deemed valuable for them. So again, I like to use scavenger hunts as a kind of a twofold reward, but the bottom line is scavenger hunts are really, really easy to do. They don't take a whole lot of effort, and once you get started on it, the format becomes easy for you to do, and your kids will love it. It's not hard for you to implement. You just need a piece of paper and a pencil and write things down, and then your kids can go about their business collecting stuff for you. And you can also offer points for them to put it back, which would be key. Okay, so definitely check out scavenger hunts if you have the time. So as usual, thank you for watching my video, and this is the Learning Bear podcast. If you have any questions or you would like some more ideas about scavenger hunts, if your kid's really into dinosaurs and you need help, or horses or rainbows, whatever, please email me. I love doing scavenger hunts, and I'm more than happy to help anybody that asks for it. I have a YouTube channel, obviously, so subscribe to that, save it, share it, etc., etc. Have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.